Ancient Pacific Northwest eruptions caused global climate changes, blocking out the sun and cooling the planet. The Pacific Northwest volcanoes, and one of them has had a lot of earthquake activity 2 days ago, Mount Hood. Now, WSU researchers document one of the planet's largest volcanic eruptions. Gases from inland northwest blocked out the sun and cooled our planet. Washington State University researchers determined that the Pacific Northwest was home to one of the Earth's largest known volcanic eruptions, a millennia-long spewing of sulfuric gas that blocked out the sun, cooling our planet. Only two other eruptions, the basalt floods of the Siberian Traps and the Deccan Traps of India, were larger, and they led to two of the world's greatest extinction-level events. This would have been devastatingly regionally because of the acid rain effect of the eruption, said John Wolfe. He's a professor in the WSU School of Environment. He said it did have a global effect on temperatures, but not drastic enough to start killing things, or it did not kill enough of them to affect the fossil record, he said. The research was funded by the National Science Foundation, appears in Geology, the top journal in the field. Starting 16.5 million years ago, they say, vents in southeast Washington and northeast Oregon put out a series of flows that reached nearly to Canada and all the way to the Pacific Ocean. The flows created the Wafshilla Ridge member of the Grand Ronde basalt, a kilometer-thick block family to travelers in the Columbia Gorge and most of eastern Washington. And researchers say it is the largest mapped flood basalt unit on our Earth. You can see the basalt and ash mountains full in this area. It looks like the Grand Canyon. This is an area of where the mantle plume led the Yellowstone supervolcano to where it is today. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. And here's another image of it. As you can see, mountains high of basalt and ash. The largest mapped flood basalt on Earth, according to researchers. They estimate that over tens of thousands of years, the floods put out between 242 and 305 billion tons of sulfur dioxide, and that's more than 4,000 times the output of the 1815 Mount Tambora eruption in present-day Indonesia. That eruption blanketed the Earth in an aerosol veil, creating the year without a sun and food shortages across the northern hemisphere. The volume of gas emitted from the Wafshilla Ridge lava, said the researchers, is equivalent to a Tambora eruption every day for 11 to 16 years. Every day, can you imagine? Most of the lava gases were released during the eruptions, but some of the gas remained trapped in crystals near the volcanic vents. Clarissa Davis, lead author of the paper, analyzed the gases as part of her doctoral studies. The other authors are Michael Rowe, now at the University of Auckland in New Zealand, and Owen Neal at the University of Michigan. Wolfe puts the eruption into one of 3 classes of cataclysms, the other 2 being a caldera eruption like the Yellowstone supervolcano and the impact of an asteroid. A similar eruption today would devastate modern society globally, said Wolfe. The eruption also provides an insight into the workings of climate change. It took place in what is known as the Miocene climate optimum, or MCO, when some 50 million years ago of cooling was interpreted by 5 to 6 degrees Fahrenheit of warming. But at its peak, the MCO had a brief cooling period that coincides with the Wapshilla eruption and its profusion of the sulfur dioxide gases. Sulfur dioxide is now bandied about as a possible tool for engineering a break in the Earth's current warming trend, though Wolfe is not particularly keen on this idea. I mean, can you imagine us breathing in sulfur dioxide? He said, I personally think it's probably a dangerous thing to do without understanding all of the possible consequences, but maybe we're getting an idea of some possible consequences here, he said. This is from Anthony Watts on What's Up With That on Bended Reality. Let's take a look at some more things having to do with the Columbia River Basalt Group. Here we are on Columbia River Basalt Group on Wikipedia, the youngest, smallest, and one of the best preserved continental flood basalt provinces on Earth. The flood basalt, here is a map of it. Large igneous provinces, you can see most of them are here in North America, Russia, Siberia, and India as well, right here. Okay, LIP, an extremely large accumulation of igneous rocks, including intrusive and extrusive, arising when magma travels through the crust towards the surface. So this is what happened here. Covering about 81 square kilometers, mainly eastern Oregon, Washington, western Idaho, and part of northern Nevada. The basalt group includes the Steen and Picture Gorge basalt formations. Northern Nevada, Idaho here, and Yellowstone beyond that. Formation of the Columbia River Basalt Group. This is just one of the things, the Palouse River Canyon downstream. The bluffs, flows of the Grand Ronde Formation. You can see how deep it is. During 10 to 15 million year period, lava flow after lava flow poured out multiple dikes which trace along old faults running from southeastern Oregon through western British Columbia. Many layers of lava. This subsidence of the crust produced a large, slightly depressed lava plain known as the Columbia Basin or Columbia River Plateau. There it is right there, that green area, into basically overlapping Idaho. Okay, Columbia Plateau, geographic region lying across part of the U.S., states of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Wide flood basalt between the Cascade Range and the Rocky Mountains. So northwest advancing lava forced the ancient Columbia River into its present course. The lava, as it flowed over the area, first filled the stream valleys, forming the dams, turns, causes impoundments of lakes, and these ancient lake beds are found fossil leaf impressions. Okay, petrified wood as well, fossil insects, bones of vertebrate animals. In the middle Miocene, 17 to 15 million years ago, the Columbia Plateau and Oregon Basin and range of the Pacific Northwest flooded with lava flows. Both flows similar in both composition and age, attributed to a common source being the Yellowstone hotspot. Everything is connected, it seems. The ultimate cause of the volcanism is still up for debate, but the most widely accepted area is the mantle plume, similar to that associated with present-day Hawaii, initiating the widespread and voluminous basaltic volcanism about 17 million years ago. As hot mantle plume material rise and reach lower pressure, the hot materials melt, interacting with the materials in the upper mantle, creating the magma. Once that magma breaches the surface, it flows as lava and then solidifies into basalt, as we can see here. Flood volcanism. Prior to 17.5 million years ago, the Western Cascade stratovolcanoes, conical volcano built up by layers of strata, erupted with periodic regularity for over 20 million years, even as they do today. An abrupt transition to a shield volcano, as we have in Mauna Loa. Flooding took place in the mid-Miocene. The flows divided into four major categories: the Steen's basalt, the Grand Ronde basalt, the Wanapu basalt, and the Saddle Mountains basalt. The various lava flows have been dated by radiometric dating. The Columbia River flood basalt province comprised more than 300 individual basalt flows that have an average volume of 120 to 140 cubic miles. You can imagine how huge this was. So the transition to flood volcanism in the Columbia River Gorge, similar to other large igneous provinces, was also marked by atmospheric loading, mass exosolution, mass emission of volatiles, the process of volcanic degassing. Okay, one of more than 300 individual flows associated with the Columbia River basalt group. The Rosa flow containing some of the most chemical preserved basalts for volatile analysis. The cause of the volcanism. Okay, it seems to be the hotspot that leads into Yellowstone. There's Yellowstone right there. Major hotspots have often been tracked back to flood basalt events. This is the case with Yellowstone's hotspot event occurring near Steens Mountain. As the North American plate moves several centimeters per year westward, the eruptions progress through the Snake River Plain, right there, across Idaho, here, and into Wyoming, here. Consistent with the hotspot hypothesis, the lava flows are progressively younger as one proceeds east along this path. There's additional confirmation that Yellowstone is associated with a deep hotspot, and using tomographic images and seismic waves, they found that active connective plumes have been detected under Yellowstone and several other hotspots. The plumes are much more focused than the upwelling observed with large-scale plate tectonic circulation. And here it is again, Columbia River Basin and the hotspot, the Snake River, ending up in Yellowstone. So dating the flood basalts, we said, look at this again, parts of the Grand Ronde, amazing, amazing. Mountains full of lava. Major Columbia River basalt flows, again more pictures. The mountains back here, the Imanaha basalt in Oregon, and view from top Steens Mountain. Look at that, isn't that something? So all these, okay, the Saddle Mountains, all these, Moses Coulee, Three Devil's Grade, and all these, of course, are from one of the biggest flood basalts events ever in the world. So I'll leave links below for you for this. Thank you for your support. Please leave your comment. Thank you.